Today, I'm joined by John Nemz, the brilliant mind behind coachesandcourses.com and a Kajabi template designer who knows exactly how to cut through the noise and create websites and funnels that actually work. And in this interview, we're going to talk about how to use Kajabi templates and AI to make way more money for your business fast. At the end of the video, we'll even give away a special free gift that could completely transform how you build and launch your business online. So let's jump on into the interview. John, tell us more about that, your experience with Kajabi and themes and templates, which is what we are going to talk about today. The whole idea of this video is to clear up confusion and questions and why you should use a template or a theme. And first, we wanted to learn more about John. So tell me more about how you got going with this.
Yeah, so thank you for having me on. I started with Kajabi basically in 2010, I think. So it's been a long time, and I've watched the platform grow and evolve. And over that time, I've had my own programs and courses and products and things like that. And then I've helped, countless clients get up and running or launch a new product, do sales pages, do websites, all of that sort of thing. And eventually Kajabi found out about me, and they're building up some new templates. And they said, hey, do you want to do these for us? So they contracted me to design 3 new template sets for their free library. So if you are a Kajabi user and you're inside of the library and the websites, like the 3 main template sets you see in there, those are the ones I designed. I think it's Prosper, Creative, and Tailor are the main 3. And then also some of the landing pages, there's matching templates. So I did that a couple of years ago. And then as soon as they launched the official template store, which is the paid templates, they reached out again and asked if I would, design some templates for the store. And so since I really enjoy working with Kajabi and designing templates, I decided to spend a lot of time and put some templates up there, and they started doing well. People were buying them. And now I'm like, oh, I should do this and do more templates. If people really like it, I enjoy making them. Let me just create my own store. So I've got my website with a bunch of templates, and then I'm uploading them to the official store as well.
Awesome. That is so cool. And what an honor to be able to say, hey, those are my templates that are actually in Kajabi. So because a lot of the people that are listening today are either never used Kajabi, maybe they're thinking about Kajabi, or they just got Kajabi. Even if they've been using Kajabi for a while, sometimes it does get confusing even on the terminology and understanding all of the jargon. So explain to those who are listening, what's the difference between a theme and a template, and why would they want to use one?
Yeah, so a lot of people use the term template interchangeably. So if someone's saying Kajabi template, it basically means everything. But the technical term is there is a website theme and a product theme. And you can think of it as like a set. It's a collection of pages that are all connected together because they share similar styling and similar headers and footers. And then an actual template, which is maybe like a page template, those are independent. So you can do whatever you want on there and it won't impact any other pages. So often if you're buying a website theme, you're getting the full collection of pages for the website. If you're buying a product theme, you're getting like the one-click install, and then everything related to that product is set in that theme. And then if you're buying templates, usually it's for like a landing page or a sales page or maybe like a funnel. So you've got multiple page templates inside of that funnel, and then you're uploading them individually and then connecting them together through like a form or through an email sequence, things like that.
The automations and all the fun stuff that comes in behind the scenes. That's very helpful because that is such a true explanation of the differentiation. I think that sometimes people get very confused in website versus landing pages. And honestly, that's the beauty of Kajabi, is that you have website, which are all connected together. You make a change on one, you're pretty much making a change on all of them as far as header, footer. But then landing pages are standalone, which allows us branding within branding, websites within websites. You can have specific core designs separate from your main website, which is somewhat unique to Kajabi. There's a lot of other platforms out there that are a lot more limiting on what you can do from a design perspective. So what are some pros and cons then of going with either one of the free or paid templates or themes, theme being for website, template being for sales funnel, usually is what we talk about. So now that we've laid that groundwork, when I say theme or template, I'm kind of saying interchanging for both of them for the rest of it, but we at least laid that So what would you say are some pros and cons? Why would somebody want to buy a theme instead of just using one of the free ones that come with Kajabi?
Yeah. Okay. So why, like, first of all, why would you want to buy a template or a theme? Like, what are the benefits of this? So first off, I think it's a great way to speed up the process. So if you're building something from scratch, maybe it takes 100 hours to build out your website, the pages, and all of those sorts of things, especially if you're a beginner and you're not a professional designer. So it saves you time. If you are not competent enough to like design something good because you're a beginner, then you're probably doing a lot of training and learning online, or you decide to just offload it to someone else and hire a contractor to do it. So then now you're spending money. Usually it's several $1,000s to get this up and running, and it can go up to 10,000 or 20,000 or even more, depending on what you need. So buying a template for a few $100s saves you a lot of money, saves you a lot of time. And then you're also getting a much more professional design than you could do on your own. And often, if the template provider is a really good designer and understands sales copy and conversion rate optimization, all these other things, you're actually getting more than the design. You're getting the strategy and kind of like the sales mechanism built in. So you don't have to pay extra for that. So if you're buying any of my templates, I've been doing this 15 years. I know what works. I know what doesn't. Like, I built everything into the templates that I would give to my clients. So instead of charging $10,000 for something, like, I put all that into a single template. So I think those are the major benefits. I think some of the cons of using a template is that often people might feel constrained about the type of content they'll put up into the template or in the website theme page. And so by that, I mean, they have this idea of what they want to put on the page and what they want to say. And so they'll either feel limited and they'll be like, okay, well, I can't fit it into this and I need to add more sections. And then you start creating more customizations and kind of changing the feel of the theme. But I would say it's actually, if you're a beginner, it's actually better to just follow what has been pre-built for you, because they probably did it for a reason. So if you start adding more stuff and you're not really an expert, you're probably going the wrong direction. You're going to make it look worse. You're going to reduce conversions, and it's not going to be a good idea in general. However, if you are creating much longer sales pages, like a sales letter, perhaps. So you're selling a $2,000 course, and maybe you've been writing this up in a Word document and it's 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 pages. Templates are really hard to make that work. So it's much better to just design something custom. So hire someone, pay them a few $1,000s, and then they can build out a really, really nice conversion optimized sales page for you based off of that sales copy. So those would, I think those are probably like the reasons why you wouldn't want to use a template. Now, what's the difference between a free template and a paid template? So obviously there's less free templates inside of the template library, and you don't have as many pages. So if you look at the ones I designed, there's only a handful of pages that you get with, let's say, the landing pages or with a website theme. Whereas with the paid version, it's much more built out. Maybe there's an extra level of, we could say, like, sophistication in the styling, the design, and the sales mechanisms. So you can use the free ones, but I would say you have more variety in the options to choose from if you choose a paid one, and then you probably have a higher chance of selling or getting people to sign up for your things because there's more variety in the types of pages you have.
Yeah, that you make some really good points. I love what you said about it saves you time. It gives you strategy. I see that so often, especially as a Kajabi mentor, and we have new people coming in and they're a little overwhelmed. They don't even know where to start. And they might use even one of the free ones that are part of the program, because of course it prompts you to choose one when you first get started. And then they feel like they have to use what's there and not really understanding that you can customize just about everything. You can change photos, you can change fonts, you can rearrange things, move things around, make it look the way you want it to look. And that's why even when I'm telling people to go look at a website like yours and look at templates, look at the layout, not necessarily the colors and the and the images, because you're going to change that anyway to match your brand. So really good points. But I don't know why anybody would really want to do a 50-page sales letter. I don't think that our audiences really have much of an attention span for those kind of things anymore. I mean, that worked a long time ago, but it's kind of not quite the way that we're selling in the industry anymore. So excellent points that you're making there too, that then you're following formats that are proven to be effective and not getting distracted by things and not missing elements too, because that's the other thing that I see a lot is that they're missing some core sales funnel elements or sales aspects. Or even more so, what we see on websites is they're trying to have their landing page, their home page especially, do everything and then
Mhm.
being the waters on their messaging. So
Yeah. And I think an important thing too to add on here is, there's different, like the business model, your business model impacts the website template and the templates you choose. So if your objective with a certain business model is, let's say X, well, you want to make sure that any templates you buy have that same objective. So I think, for example, with my templates, they're divided into creator, expert, and school, the three business models in the knowledge type of business. So if you have like the school model and your website is designed for the creator, well, there's going to be a mismatch, right? People are
good.
coming to the site and you're attracting maybe different people and they don't know what to do. And you're like, well, I want to sell to organizations, but I'm not really structured. People don't know that. And you're forcing people to opt in for a PDF. And that's not what that visitor wants. They want something else. So I think that's a really important thing to think about in the early stages is what type of business model do you have? And then finding a template that fits that.
Such a good point. In fact, I noticed when I was on your website that you even have special templates for certain industries like realtors
Mm.
and that kind of thing. So it makes it much easier than that there's already some recommendations even on layouts and copy and way that they should set that up to better attract their audience and move them through that client journey.
Yeah, I really wanted to provide a complete solution to people. So breaking things down, which template do I choose? Okay, start with the business model. Okay, I want to start a school. Go to the school tab and you'll see all the templates that match that model. Okay, so everything designed there as far as layouts fit what you're going to need as an online school. Okay, next thing is like look for the niche that you like. So I've got, let's say business school, or I've got cooking school or yoga. You choose the one that's closest to your niche. Again, you don't have to. You can just choose it based off the design and swap in, different content and pictures. But, if you were having like a business school, you could look at some of the business type themes and then choose one of those that is really close to you and feel confident that you're going to look professional to that target audience because everything has been designed around that, right? All the photos, all the pre-written copy is like designed for a real school type business for that niche. So I think that's something that makes me a little more unique compared to other template providers is I've actually built these templates as like a final product. So you could technically just put in your logo and then put it live and everything could work if you want. And I don't recommend you do that. You want to add some customizations and
True.
put your own text
But that
in
is
because,
handy.
the bio section probably might, it's for a different person. But I've designed everything to be as like a complete solution. So you can see it and be like, okay, that's what my site is going to look like. Instead of having like all these sections where it's lorem ipsum or just like blank text,
Mm.
it's really hard to visualize and understand like how you would use some of these sections. So with my templates, it's
Yes.
all pre-written. You know exactly what to put there.
I love that, John. And the reason that I say that is because one of the biggest things that I always talk about, especially with my coaching clients, is monetizing as quickly as possible. So often, a mistake that I see with new entrepreneurs that are getting started in the industry is they're taking 5, 6 months to build out their product and get their sales funnel,
Mm.
and they're just not getting out there and getting monetized and actually getting it to the world where they can start making money. And the goal is always to try and get your program up and running and out there quickly. And by using a template where it's already a lot of even just brainstorming content filled in the template already for them, that's huge because you talk about being able to take a template, put it in there, make a few tweaks, customize it for your messaging, for your transformation promise and the pain point of your target audience, and then get it out there to the world so much faster. That's huge. Very
Hmm.
powerful, very powerful. So, along those lines, of course, other than maybe not using a template, what would you say are some common pitfalls or some of the big mistakes that course creators make when working with templates in Kajabi?
Yeah. So in general, when working with a template, I think most people will customize too much. And I kind of mentioned this before.
Sure.
If you are not a professional designer, you should limit the amount of time you spend designing, right? Your expertise is somewhere else. So trust that the person you hired through the template knows what they're doing and you're following kind of like their guidance that they put in, like they've built in through the template. So a funny story is since, so many people use Kajabi and I've got my free templates in the free library, I'll be like browsing the internet and I'll just like stumble upon someone's site who's using one of my templates, and I'll like instantly recognize it because they've carried a lot of similarities. They haven't customized it too far, but they've customized it more than I think they should have. So I'll look at it and be like, oh no, you ruined it. Like, oh, I built this thing to optimize for this specific action, and like you ruined it. Like now it's not like people aren't going to sign up because it's like you messed this part up. And of course, it's your template. Once you buy it, it's your template. You can do whatever you want.
Sure.
But I built everything very intentionally. And so I think if you're buying a template, it's really important to understand the trade-off you're making. It's like, okay, you're buying the template because you want the results of that template. So the trade-off you're making is you have less ability, or you have less freedom to put in what you think you want. But then if you build it yourself, okay, you can get pure flexibility, pure freedom to do whatever you want. But then the trade-off you're making is maybe not understanding, what's good and what's bad as far as design or conversions and things like that. So I think that's like the big mistake people make, is like over customizing something. And I'm not talking about like colors and pictures and things like that. I'm talking about core structural elements of the site and the pages. Because if you mess that up, it's going to be hard to sell.
It does.
Or hard to
It
convert.
changes. And that's where I think that the beauty of it is, with really the real power of especially your templates, is for those who are just getting started and they want to get monetized quickly and they don't understand strategy, sales psychology, conversions, that
Mhm.
you could be putting me out of a job from a coaching perspective, but then they don't need the strategy from me because it's already taken care of in your template. But yeah, if somebody really understands psychology and they understand their consumer and how to really attract and take them through that client journey, then absolutely start from scratch, or just use a basic template and customize it how you want. But to be able to have those elements already in place for you is so
Mhm.
helpful and so valuable, because then you're more likely to get higher conversions without having to do what we always talk about, is we launch and then we look at the analytics and we figure out what's wrong, and then we have to tweak, and then what do we tweak? Because it could be a color of a button, but it could be the whole page, could be our messaging, could be just a few little things. But then starting with a proven template that already has that psychology behind it, so powerful, because then you can just, if it's not working, then we have more guidance on what we need to do. It's more probably messaging than it is
Yeah.
the whole template. I love that. I love that. That's awesome. Okay, so what would you say are key trends that you foresee for course creators and coaches in the next 6 to 12 months? Any thoughts there? Because I know there's a lot going on right now.
Yeah. I've got some strong opinions on this one. So I think the big thing to watch out for is AI, how much it's impacting this industry.
Absolutely.
And the important thing to understand is that AI is going to replace most knowledge transfer courses. So if you have a course where you're taking some generic information and you're taking it from your head and putting it into someone else's head, those courses are going away. And the reason I say that is because ChatGPT can tell someone that same information better, faster, and cheaper. You don't have to sign up. You just go to chatgpt.com, you start asking it some questions about a topic, and it's there instantaneously and you can interact with it.
Agreed.
So I think if you are a course creator or a coach and that is your main offer, where it's just transferring information, that's not sustainable for much longer. And you need to be hitting that panic button and be understanding that things are changing. So, okay, so if that's going away, what are we going to be seeing more of? Okay, there's two other things that are going to be really important. So number one is solving problems for people. And this could be through coaching or it could be through courses. And it's taking one very specific problem and solving it in a very specific way. So you're not just trying to dump a bunch of information on someone. You're taking them through a very specific step-by-step process and showing them exactly what to do. And so the time and the amount of information is not relevant here. It's the end result and the outcome that you can provide. So you can charge a lot of money and deliver something in 20 minutes. But if it's like for the right customer, if it's the right audience, the right market, that's a steal, right? Because it's saving them tens of thousands of dollars, or allowing them to, do something that, results in much more income or much more benefit than the cost of that. So problem solving. And then number two is creating a transformation. And so transformation usually is something that happens over a period of time. And there's a big human element to it. So it's not, if you're trying to go from a couch potato and be someone who runs a marathon, you don't do that through information. You do that through accountability, through taking action. Maybe there's a coach and you got a group, a community. There's all these different elements. And so I think those are the two main things. So either try to solve a very specific problem or try to set the stage and create this transformation through a variety of different mechanisms that aren't just transferring information from one person to another. So I think that's the big thing, is changing the type of offer that you're making. And then the second big one is, I think, as you kind of mentioned before, is there's been this like simplification in the online education industry. And I think we probably hit peak signature $2,000 12-week course a couple years ago. So during the pandemic, I think people just got tired of it because all the gurus, everyone was kind of like preaching this thing, and it still works, but it's just going to be less effective over time. And so what we're seeing instead is just much more simple offers that get to the point. Maybe they're more affordable. They don't take as long to get the outcome that you want. And they're focused probably more on solving a specific problem for people. And the other thing is that they're available all the time. So they're not plugged into some complicated funnel. If someone is coming to your website from social media or a newsletter, or they got referred there by someone, they probably have a reason for going to that site. They got a problem or they're looking for a solution. And if your solution is there, ready and waiting, they see that, they could just buy it right away. They don't have to sign up for a newsletter. They don't have to sign up for a lead magnet and go through this long process. They just want the problem solved right away, or they want that result right away. So if you have your offers available all the time, you're maximizing that chance. And then I think the other thing to really be thinking about is, can you create the opportunity for an impulse purchase on your website? And more people are on their phones. And so if someone finds something that they want and you have Kajabi Pay installed, so you've got Apple Pay and Google Pay, people they can just tap that button and buy. And I can't tell you how many times I've been like laying in bed or laying on the couch, like scrolling through my phone, and I saw something I wanted, and then I couldn't buy it. I had to go get my credit card. And I was like, looking at the table over there, like, I'm not gonna go over and get the credit card and then manually type it in.
So true.
So it's not just me that feels this way.
Absolutely.
Most people are feeling this way, right?
Yeah.
If all these huge
It's
companies
convenience,
have,
yeah.
go ahead.
It's all about convenience. Absolutely. I mean, even for especially for just a $27 or a $50 thing, the effort to get up and walk over to get my credit card is definitely a lot more of resistance to purchase than it is psychologically, which I think is a really interesting thing. Very true. Awesome. Yeah. You make some excellent,
So if you,
I completely.
yeah, I mean, creating the like opportunity for like a simple offer that's like an impulse purchase, and just like focusing on that, I think is like one of the biggest things someone who's like new to this world can do, right? It's like, just get your first offer up there. It could be a basic coaching offer, or consulting, 1 hour session or 10 pack or something like that. Make it super easy to understand what it is and what the outcome is, and then let people buy. It's like the easiest way to get started with this. And then even with like a course, it could be like a mini course, or it could be a live, it could be a live cohort or live training, something like that, to where you're just taking like this really overwhelming process and just breaking it down into something really manageable and easy. Because if you're overwhelmed, your potential customers are probably going to be overwhelmed too.
Yes. And the human element. I think that's the other piece that AI is moving us towards. And that started with COVID, was adding the human element to it. And as we move forward with more and more people using AI type of tools, even for their content, which is phenomenal. I mean, the technology that's available to us as content creators is mind-boggling. It's saving time, making it easier, but then it loses a little piece of us sometimes if we're people, and our audience can tell. So I think that keeping that human element. And what are your thoughts then too on this new movement into communities and using Kajabi's community feature?
So I think if you're trying to create a transformation for someone, the community is, one of the ways you could do that. In general, I think it's not a great place to start if you're a beginner, because communities really need like a lot of people in there that are active to be valuable. I've been in a bunch of communities over the years, and I think you really need the ability to have a few hundred people in there, because even 100 people, it seems like a lot, but not everyone is checking every day. Most people don't post. So a community of 100 people might only be like 4 or 5 people posting. And that's probably not what people are expecting when they're signing up for a community. So I think if you're going to do it, make sure you have a larger audience and you can get a lot of people signed up quickly or at the same time. And I think that's when it'll be really valuable. But if you're not in that situation, probably skip that part, and you could do like group coaching sessions instead, or like hot seats. You can do all these other things where you've got this community feel, but it's not visible how many people are there interacting at the same time. And then you could add that human element where it's like, oh, it's like a shared experience. You're doing a group co-working session on Zoom and you got breakout rooms. And it doesn't matter how many people are there because, breakout rooms are only like 4 or 5 people anyway. So, so there's a lot of different ways you can kind of like hack and get around this. And then the other thing I was going to say was with AI, basically it's getting closer and closer to where you can have an avatar that has your voice and it looks like you, and you can plug in, AI generated content and create these videos that it looks like you and it's teaching something. Like that's coming. It's like we're very close to making the leap to where it looks real enough and people trust it.
And sounds like
But I think the problem there is that now all this information gets commodified. So it's not valuable anymore. And so if you're going to be creating a course, I think it's really important to think about what only you can teach. What are your experiences and stories and, what's your unique expertise that no AI can cover? Or what's the angle that, you maybe have that's different than the generic AI? And I think that's where you can stand out, where it's, yes, there's education. Yes, it's problem solving, but it's also becoming entertainment and people are having that connection to you. And I think that maybe is going to be a difficult element for people to have with an AI avatar where, if they're just saying generic things, you can get that from ChatGPT. You don't need to sit and like watch an AI video. You can just like go get exactly what you want and pull it out and, take action if you want.
Yeah, that's so true. And I feel that so much too in my stuff where I've just been thinking about trying to put more story to it, more of a personal aspect. We get back to the personal element. And it's so funny because so often I'm just like, I don't have stories that people want to hear. But then when you really start to break it down, it's like, but that's what makes it the experience that got me where I am now, that is helping other people to understand and change their perspective and improve and see their transformations too. And sometimes we overthink things. And
Totally.
AI is definitely changing the way we need to look at it, especially in this industry. So yes, excellent points. Now, on the other hand, I am a very big proponent of AI because it's definitely, there's so many things it can do to really improve, and even in the quality of the content that we're putting out, and just saving time. But where I feel like it's really strong and valuable is where it's great for brainstorming. It's great for editing and improving on something that I already write. I find that's really where the real power is.
Yeah, and I would add to that, it's great for improving the quality of your thinking. So you could basically prompt ChatGPT or Claude or whatever tool you want to use, and have it ask you questions. So I think just by the nature of having this AI ask you questions and then follow up, it allows you to kind of verbalize, and you can do it through voice or through text, however you want, but it allows you to clarify your thinking and get it all out there. And then once it's all out there, the AI, reads it all, and then you can have a conversation about the conversation. Be like, all right, how should I position this? Like you asked me about a story. I've got this unique story. I just told it to you, but I want to tailor it to a LinkedIn post. How should we do that? And then you kind of like work together to figure it out. But it's like all coming from you, right? Because it's incorporating your story, your expertise, your experiences. And now no one else on the planet can write that post except for you and your AI together.
So true. I love that. That is so true. I did that the other day too, where I asked it to add a little more humor to what I was writing, because I felt like sometimes it comes across a little too dry. Because a lot of times, especially with this type of topic, it can be very
Boring.
educational. So yeah, sometimes it can be a little boring. So we do our best to then add that a little bit of more enjoyment and humor to it. So that was really helpful for me because, it just put that little extra spin of conversationalism to it. So yeah, great points. And then definitely using AI too in your like you talk about, we were going back to your templates. It's another tool that you could use where, like you said, ask it to ask you questions, and then in specific to the sales page, for example. And then, okay, so here's the element of the sales page. Ask me questions so that then it'll help you know what content to put in based on even the sample content that you've already added to your template.
Yeah, and if you have a live link that's accessible on the internet somewhere, then you could even just like paste that link into the ChatGPT. Be like, hey, here's, basically explain the situation. Like, here's a template I bought. It's like preloaded with content. Help me customize what's on here for my unique situation, my niche, my brand, whatever. And then you could even just say like, start by asking me questions for whatever you need and then write it. And so within like 20 minutes, it could rewrite the whole page for the sections that are there. And it's modeled on the amount of content. Like, so everything will fit into the existing design and you don't have to be like copying and pasting, and be like, all right, okay, now I'm on this section and the goal of this section is this. It just already knows the entire page and what the objective is. So that's a cool little shortcut that you can try too.
That's like $1 million tip right there. And that's worth the price of admission right now, even though it's free. But I mean, seriously, for a couple $100 on a template and then plugging that and just having the template where the AI can see the page and know exactly what the elements are, ask it to ask you questions. I mean, we talk about there is no excuse that anybody shouldn't be able to get their sales funnels and their website up and running very quickly and be able to have some very effective sales funnels where now they're shifting over to what most entrepreneurs should be doing, which is marketing, rather than putting all their time into sales pages and all of the behind the scenes, putting all this time and effort that you could have it done in a day instead of weeks and weeks and unfortunately sometimes months.
Or years. I've had clients where, it's taken them over a year to get something live. So it's really hard to recover from that. Because if the thing doesn't go well in the launch, you're like, oh man, I spent a year on this. I can't do another year to test out another thing. So the quicker you can iterate and test things, the better. So if it takes you a day or a weekend or a week, you're like, okay, fine, that experiment didn't work. Let me try again with something else. Yeah, and then you could do 10 of them in a month or two. Like, okay, great. I found what's working. It's a lot easier to keep going when it's, quicker iteration cycles.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, for those of you that are out there watching, if that's you and you're like sinking lower in your seat because we're describing that you've spent months or years, it's okay. But now is a good time to make a shift and make a decision to try something new because obviously it's not working for you. So let's look at trying something else and maybe take some of these ideas to heart and give it a try. So yeah, really good stuff. Thanks, John. This is really amazing. Okay. Next question. If you had this goes along kind of what we were talking about, but if you have one piece of advice for new course creators or coaches, what would it be?
Yeah, simplify. I say that all the time. When I was doing all client work, I would say that to every client, be like, okay, that's the most simple thing that we can do to get it out there. Go through the entire process once. So whether it's a coaching program or a course, don't try to create your masterpiece on the first try. Just create the most basic thing so you can go through the entire process and see how it all works. And then by the time you get to the end, you're like, okay, I learned a lot and I just want to throw that thing out and start over. If it took you a weekend, it's not a big deal, but now you learned everything that kind of goes into it, and then you can try again. And by the time you're on the third or fourth try, you're going to be really confident in front of the camera. You're going to be really confident building on a course or doing the coaching program or whatever. So I would say like start with the most simple offers you can, something that doesn't take a lot of effort and time and also delivers a lot of value in a short period of time to your customer or your client. And I think part of that is also like you're getting comfortable, but you're also validating offers. So if you can start validating interest in something before you build it, that's also a great idea. And why I recommend so often that people try to sell something live. So it'd be like a live coaching program or consulting call, or it could be like a live cohort. So instead of pre-recording a course, you say, hey, it's a 2-week live course, 2 sessions a week for 2 weeks. That's 4 sessions. Each one is 90 minutes. And the first 45 minutes, you teach something. In the last 45 minutes, you just do Q&A. Like something like that. Maybe it takes you an hour or 2 a week to prepare like an outline, and then you just like teach to that outline live and record it. And then you stick it in your Kajabi portal and people can watch the recording. That is such a great way to prevent spending all this time building something. And guess what? If no one buys the thing, you didn't spend any time building it, and you can try again with another offer before you built it. So I would say like that's just some words of wisdom I've seen over the years with my own products, with clients, just watching what other people do in communities, like, oh, you've been working on this for a long time. Just get something out there. You got to make an offer.
Absolutely. That's such good advice. I love that. And simplify is my word for 2025. I am taking part so much too. So I love that you said that. And it's so true too. I mean, you think about even somebody who's even thinking about like they have an idea and they don't even have their Kajabi account yet. Using a partner link is 30 days, a trial period with Kajabi. You have 30 days. And if you can get up and running within the first week or so with just a simple offer, and know what it is that and try it out, and then you're getting testimonials and you're getting proof positive, then you're getting monetized before you even have to pay for Kajabi. That's like the best scenario in the world, especially because there's a learning curve on the technology. There's a learning curve on your messaging. There's a little bit of a learning curve on your marketing. So to be able to take those and simplify instead of getting caught into so many times I see this where people get into Canva or something, they'll spend all day working on one graphic. Not that that's a bad thing to do, but and I did that in the beginning too. You get in the zone, you're like, oh, this is the fun work.
Yeah.
I'm over here just kind of doing this other stuff when it's not really moving the needle and moving you forward in your business. So yeah, I would say that would be a big one too that I learned early on, where it was like, don't get caught in the weeds.
And it's a constant battle, right? Like no matter how long you're doing this,
Yeah,
you're naturally going to want to do the things that are fun and interesting to you. And a lot of times that's not what the business needs at that moment.
true.
So I struggle I struggle with that all the time where I'm building templates. So sometimes I'll dive in and be like, oh, it'd be really cool if I could get this thing. And then it's like 10 hours in and I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? No one's going to notice this except for other designers. Like this is me just like doing something that I want. I need to get back on track. Like what actually matters with this template.
I think as entrepreneurs too, we are idea people. And so it's real easy to be like, here's a new course, here's a new tool, here's a new whatever, here's a new idea for another course. And then we talk about that you're building all these bridges to Destination Island, and now we have 10 bridges, but none of them are built.
Yeah.
So the goal is to just finish a bridge, move on to the next one, and put a pin. It's not that it's not a good idea. It just means that sometimes we have to put that one on hold until we finish this one and at least get it to where it's launched and it's working and it's making you money. So excellent.
Yeah, I've got like this project board where I have all my tasks and they're, different categories and things like that. And I've created a later board where it's like, I always have these ideas and things that I want to do. So I just started putting them into this board. So that way they're out of my head and I feel like I've done something. And then like, I might come back later and like add more notes to it.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, okay, not giving up on this. It's just, this is a thing for later. And when later comes, I can do it if I want. But most of the time, once it's out there, then it's like, okay, I'm not going to do this. Let me just delete it, or let me like put it further away so it's not in the main view. But I think that's like, if you struggle with like shiny object syndrome, where you're wanting to do all these different things, creating a later board could be like one thing to test out to see if it helps.
I love that. I'm totally going to start using that for myself too, because it seems like too, you have this idea, but then once you've slept on it or you give it a week, it's fun. So your perspective about it completely changes. Or you start sharing the idea with prospective clients and see what their response is. And then if the response is, oh yeah, this is the best idea you've had yet, then you can bump it up to a little bit more of a priority. Or do like you said, where then you do a short coaching and give it a try, test the waters, sell it to a few people. Then you have those testimonials, you have the feedback, then you can turn it into something more like a course. I love that. Especially following like you talked about, that you're either solving a problem or helping with a transformation. Good stuff. All right. Well, we don't want to go too long. So was there anything, there's so much gold here. I could talk to you all day because there's lots of really good information. Is there anything you would like to add that we haven't talked about, especially with your templates and advice and recommendations, especially for aspiring new or seasoned Kajabi users that are looking at templates and building their business and all that good stuff?
Yeah, I think the biggest piece of advice I can give right now is, if you haven't made $100,000 yet with a knowledge business, then buy a template and just get something out there. Don't necessarily follow it like all the big gurus are saying and do this complicated, big, expensive thing. Right now, you need to be practicing and just getting the reps in. So once you have your website live, you have a free offer and you have a paid offer, stop. Right now you're moving into marketing and sales mode, and you've got to get eyeballs on your offers and getting people signed up. And so a lot of times, and I struggle with this too, is it's like a traffic issue. You're not getting enough attention or the right attention on your offers, and they could be perfectly fine. It's just not enough people are seeing it. So you get 10 people to visit your site and no one bought. Well, that's only 10 people that visited. Like, try to get 1,000 or 10,000. And if you can't get there yet, that's what you need to focus on, right? Doing the advertising or doing the social media content creation, or even better, one of my favorite strategies is working through partners. And so all my businesses that were the most successful over the years, I worked with other people. I collaborated and they gave me access to their audience. And that was like instant distribution. I instantly got, thousands of people to sign up or to buy. So this is always an option too. If you're struggling with creating content, or maybe you don't know how to do advertising or don't have the funds, look to see how you can collaborate with other people in the space, because often they'll have what you need and you have what they need. So just a quick story, and then we can wrap up, is one of my clients from a few years ago. She was at the top of her game in her profession, right? Made a lot of money, was well respected, worked with the biggest companies, and she wanted to get out of that and do online training. And so she created a series of courses. I think it was like maybe 2 or 3 courses that were very specific in the niche, in the audience, or in the industry. And instead of driving her own traffic, she partnered with the largest educational platform in that industry, and they did not teach what she taught. So they basically did a deal, and she got access to hundreds of thousands of buyers, not prospective buyers, people who bought other courses in the space, and they just plugged in her courses. Instant 7-figure business, right? Through one deal, like one sale. All she had to do was sell that, that platform on the partnership. And then they did all the selling and marketing and everything else. And maybe, a couple times a month, she would do a webinar or something like that. But, that exists out there.
Absolutely.
So if your industry or your niche has something like that, then that could be another option, right? If you only have 10 hours, maybe 10 hours spent on content wouldn't be as valuable as 10 hours spent reaching out to people who already have the audience and the distribution built in.
Such good advice. Yeah, we always talk about that. It's traffic, leads, conversions. You just need to put more TLC into your business if you're needing more sales. And traffic, leads, conversions is really the cornerstone. And if you're not getting conversions, it all starts with traffic. So often when I'm talking to someone and I'll say, okay, well, if you're not getting sales, what are you doing for marketing? And then that's where the rubber meets the road, really. You can't drive a car if it's sitting on blocks.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that. And definitely using collaboration, affiliates, building those relationships is so invaluable. It's my favorite way of marketing because there's trust. There's that connection that you don't get when you're just posting on social media to cold traffic. Not that that doesn't work too. All marketing works. It's just finding the right one that works for you. I remember I was at a big conference last year and everybody in the room was content creators and course creators, and everybody on stage were 6 and 7 figure earners. But what was so fascinating to me was every single person swore by a completely different marketing strategy.
Yeah,
And
I
so
can
my
see
biggest
that.
takeaway from that was there isn't a magic bullet when it comes to marketing. It's finding the one that works for you and then being consistent with that. Because so often what's happening is we're just not doing it enough. We try something, it doesn't work, and then we shift to something else and it doesn't work. I did that mistake for the longest time. So finding those relationships, if that's the marketing that works for you, so powerful, so powerful. I love it. Such good stuff. Now, you were talking about then on that too, as well, get a template, get an offer, stick with that, build your bridge, finish the bridge, get it marketed. And you had mentioned before we started this that you have a special offer for everybody who's listening to this today to be able to get their feet in the water, at least on template. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I'll give a little free gift for people who want to take action and start getting some momentum in their Kajabi business. So if you go to my website, coachesandcourses.com/strive4savvy, we'll also provide the link. If you go there, then you can sign up and get this little free gift that I have for you.
That's awesome. It's a great way to get started and check out some of John's amazing templates and make sure that that's courses or coaches and
Courses.
out. And so it's not the and sign. It's coachesandcourses.com/strive4savvy with the number 4. So we'll have that linked below and probably have this on the screen as well, just to make it easier for everybody. But you definitely don't want to miss out on that. Check that out because it's definitely a great gift to be able to help you guys move the needle forward. Some really great stuff. So thanks everyone. Thank you, John, for joining us today, for your amazing insights and information, for taking your time today. It was an honor to be able to spend some more time with you. Always a pleasure. And also thank everybody else for taking their time out of their day. I know you can always keep scrolling and it's really easy to just flip through on the 10-second and 1-minute videos. But sometimes the best value comes when you just immerse yourself a little bit and get new insights and new perspectives. So thank you for taking your time. And remember, the key to success is to keep learning and keep growing. And we'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.
If you've ever felt stuck or overwhelmed trying to create the perfect landing page or website, I hope today's conversation gave you some much needed clarity. John shared some golden tips, some really great insights on simplifying your setup, saving time, and focusing on what really matters, which is getting your offers live and generating results. Now, if you're ready to take the next step with John and check out some of his templates, visit coachesandcourses.com/Kajabi. The link is also in the description below to grab John's free gift designed specifically for those of you who are watching this interview and help you hit the ground running with your Kajabi site. You'll find the link, like I said, in the description below for easier access. And if you're hungry for more actionable Kajabi strategies, check out our full Kajabi mentorship playlist. It's packed with tips to help you grow your online business faster without the usual tech struggles. I'll see you there.